Welcome to EdFolio Talks with Coach Lex, the podcast where we explore the diverse world of education with ranging topics from sales, business, educational technology, and many more. I'm your host, Ursula Reno, the CEO and co-founder of EdFolio, and in this series, Coach Lex and I will be diving deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of sales, business, education, and educational technology.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Coach Lex. And tonight, I'm so excited because we're having our second episode, as promised, with EdFolio Talks with Coach Lex, Solving the Sales Puzzle Part 2. And with me, of course, tonight is.
Yes, thank you, Ursel. I'm Coach Lex, and Ursel, I'm excited again because this is our second episode. Wow.
Yes, and we have promised, Coach Lex, that last time, di ba, when
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about your book, Solving the Sales Puzzle, we kind of
Uh-huh.
gave them a teaser about some parts of the book that you've written
Right.
or you wrote in Solving the Sales Puzzle, and we want to dig a little more about the book,
Mm-hmm.
and we want people to learn and get to know you more, and why are we doing this, the purpose and everything. So tonight, Coach Lex, no, before we move further on with the book, I just want
Mm-hmm.
us to really review about the key takeaways that were introduced, or the concepts that were introduced to us last time, di ba? Kasi syempre may
Sure. Uh,
na listen yung episode 1, but we really want to encourage everybody to listen or watch episode 1. But during the episode 1, Coach Lex, one of the topics that you kind of left us with was the story about if you have a friend, about the 1,000 peso bill. And while I was reading your book,
uh-huh.
I learned that the term for that is called posturing. Okay, so that
Right.
concept,
Uh-huh.
I really like it. So now, Coach Lex, I want tonight our first discussion would be about that. So how can we
Okay.
effectively posture po?
All right. So that's a very nice question. Yung posturing. How do you effectively posture? When you see the illustration that I gave last time about lending or giving that 1,000 peso bill to a friend, is something like is synonymous to as when you're trying to sell to another person. But when you are posturing, you see, pag people will give objections or will reject you. Normally, when you're in the selling situation and someone rejects your offer, you feel bad, correct? Have you experienced that yourself?
Yeah.
Na when you're presenting, di ba? Tapos yung alam mo in your heart that it is the most logical thing to do is to say yes to your proposition, but they rejected you. And so normally you feel bad. Tama ba?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you experienced that? No? And I'm sure yung mga nakikinig at nanonood sa atin, maybe you've experienced that too. No, yung bang alam na alam mo na ito kailangan talaga nila, except they're rejecting you kasi ayaw nila na binibentahan sila for some reasons, 'di ba? And lahat tayo, no, being human, lahat tayo ganun ng feeling, ayaw natin ng feeling na parang nabebentahan tayo kahit na alam natin maganda yung product that they are trying to sell to us, no. So instead of selling, yung mindset kasi ito eh. So instead of having a mindset of selling, pagkaharap mo sila, instead have that mindset of helping, 'di
Mm.
ba? So when you're trying to help someone and then they reject you, 'di ba? And so you feel bad also. Kaya lang you feel bad more for the person and not for you. Why? Because you know that your product or your service can actually help them, except they rejected it, except that they shied away from it. And
Yeah.
so they were not able to improve their business, their life, their whatever it is that they need improvement on. And so, ang feeling mo ngayon, you feel bad, pero you feel bad kasi hindi nila tinanggap kasi it could have helped them. And so the next time around, you because of that feeling na yung na-reject yung tulong, no, na alam mo makakatulong sa kanila, alam mo na makapagpapaganda sa proseso nila, sa business nila or whatsoever, now you will do even better para next time around hindi na lumabas yung ganong klaseng objection. So
Yeah.
that's called posturing also. When you posture, you don't think during that selling situation, you don't think that you're selling. Instead, always put in your mind and in your hearts that you're helping another person. But
Yeah.
this will only work or sell if you truly believe that your product or service can really transform, change, and help people.
Yes. And I like this part of the book where I read, if you're having difficulty selling because you're so concerned about the potential objection, no, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
keep to
Right.
point. Don't sell, help and tell. So parang ang ganda,
Correct.
diba? Like you said, if you know that your product you know that your product can really help these people or this person, then you proceed to posturing so that you won't really feel bad about, the objection. You just strive hard to do better next time so that the person would really understand.
Yes.
This
Oh, that's true. Oh,
I like that. That's so nice, Coach Lex. And
oh, thank you, Arcel.
yes po, and another concept din po na I was of course, no, I'm also one of your fan. I'm the one
Oh,
I
thank you.
read your book. And so one of the parts of the book that really struck me the most is also the concept about ready, fire, and aim. Can you elaborate more about that concept po?
Okay, yeah, yeah, ready, fire, aim. Oh. Let me give you a little background muna about that concept. Kasi, years ago, my wife and I, we went to, to a shooting range, no? So, pagdating namin doon, you see my wife is a reservist, no? An Air Force reservist. And so pagdating namin doon, laking gulat ko, no? Because she was really enjoying yung shooting range. And kaya ako nagulat because it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Alam mo na yung afternoon sun, di ba? Na, lalo na ngayon sobrang init, no? But even during that time, it was blazing hot. Pero she didn't mind. You see, may asthma yung wife ko eh. And so but she didn't mind the sun. And then when she was firing the gun, mausok, 'di ba? And yet she didn't mind it. Normally, yung mga fumes, it bothered her, no? Pero hindi it ano no, for some reasons, parang she was enjoying the whole thing. And I guess she really did, no? Kasi nga reservist siya sa Air Force, no? But the true revelation that I had during that time was not just that. The true revelation was that when I was trying to use the gun also, I was aiming and aiming and aiming. And then I thought I was okay, ready. I'm already ready, but I kept on aiming until my arms grew weary. And then so nung pagod na ako, and then the gun became more felt heavier than it was before. And so it became more difficult to actually shoot. And then I realized na pagka ganun pala, the best way to do it is that when you're ready, you fire, and then that's the only time you adjust your aim. Kasi pagka when you fired na, then you see kung saan pumunta yung bullet, and so now you can adjust the aim, no? So mas madali pala siya, no? So ready, fire, aim. So that's how it was, no? And that's how it started. Now, when I was contemplating about it, oh nga, no, you see the problem with most salespeople is that we try to parang we try to think about a lot of things that we need, and we try to do this, no, I still can't start and begin my selling career or sell because I still don't have a laptop. I can't do this because I don't have a car. I can't do this because I don't have enough clothes to wear. I can't do this. I don't have the right cell phone. I can't do this. I don't have the right shoes. I can't. Everything that you're saying is actually, I can't do this because I have excuses. And so
Mhm.
this becomes the, parang the hindrance. This hinders people. This becomes the first stumbling block of salespeople, that they're not able to do things because of excuses,
Yeah.
even though they're ready. But how do we know that a person is ready? If you can, no, no, if you can look at your fist, can you make a fist or sell? You make a fist, diba? When you make a fist, the fist, the size of the fist is approximately also the size of our hearts, no? So when you make that fist, remember your heart. And ang pinaka-mahalaga, pinaka-importante, para masabi mo that you're ready is, una, you know by heart why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm.
If you know by heart why you're doing what you're doing, and then by all means, you will move. By all means, you will push yourself. Why? What am I saying? When you know what you know, you see, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, if you don't know why you went into sales, if you don't understand why you should push yourself to succeed, then the first obstacle, wala pang ang obstacle, you will already say, I can't because
Yeah.
of so many excuses. Pero if you know exactly why you don't want to stay where you are right now, I mean, that's exactly the reason. The reason you want to push yourself, the reason you want to succeed is because you don't want to stay where you are for
Yeah.
probably so many reasons, diba? So because you don't want to stay, now the next question is, so what happens if I stay? Now, if the answer to that question is, well, it's still okay. If you stay here, nothing happens. Then again, you will not move forward unless there is that, there is that uh reason, no, compelling reason to push you out of that, no, comfort zone. You see, we're all in our comfort zones. Before we move out and before we ventured into something else, we're in our comfort zone. But when we begin to pursue our dreams, that's when we actually step outside of it. Diba? Remember that time, Ursel, when you set up EdFolio, diba?
Yeah.
That was moving outside your comfort zone. When you set up School Tech, that was exactly like that. Moving outside your comfort zone. There's so many things to do. There's so many people to talk to. There's so many things to organize and so many things to accomplish.
Yeah.
Um, but if you don't do that, it's uh, you were supposed to be comfortable lang doon, di ba? But
Yeah.
then you don't want to stay there. Why? Because from the comfort zone, nothing happens. From our comfort zones, we don't grow. And that's why we don't want that. We want to grow. We want to succeed. And that's why we cannot stay in our comfort zone. So we move out. And so pagka ano ka nalaman mo na yun na, oh, I really want to move. I really want to proceed and move forward and pursue my dreams. And so it's the same thing, no? If you're into selling, I want to sell. I want to do this because if I sell more, I get more, I become more. And therefore, when you do this, syempre you're moving outside, no? Kung nasaan ka currently, no? And then you're trying to improve yourself and the life of not just yours, no, but your family. Um, so basically, no? I mean, if you're ready, because una, ano ba yung kailangan mo to be ready? Una, you know why you're doing things. You know why you do what you do. If you know exactly the reason, then you will push and you will move forward. The second is, of course, you need to be able to have that competence. Di ba?
Mm.
Kailangan meron. Syempre, if you will move and you want to sell, you want to be effective, you want to solve that sales puzzle, you need also to be effective. Well, to be effective, syempre, kailangan may alam ka tungkol dun sa ibebenta mo. So, basically, those are the two things, no, na pinakakailangan mo. The heart to do this and, uh, knowledge of
Yeah.
the product that you have to sell.
Yeah.
Now, all the other things, the car, the laptop, the iPad, the cell phone, the whatever, those are nice to have. And of course, they will help you.
Yeah.
However, hindi sila yung be all and all. of your selling career. The real things that you need is the first and foremost, of course, your heart, no? Nandun, no? I know in my heart that this is what I need to do. The second is the skill, at least the competence that you have and that you know that you can do these things. Now, the competence of doing or selling the exact product that you are supposed to push.
So it really boils down to like a mission. It's like a calling for you, you know. And you know it in your heart that God wants you to do something like go outside of your comfort zone. And you know, and when you start to sell, it's like a mission because you know that you know your product, parang ganun siya. Because for me,
Oh yes.
it's first
Oh.
parang ganun yung nangyari when we started at Folio and School Tech because I wanted to help. It was like a mission for me because I want to help
Mm-hmm.
medium schools. I want to help teachers get the materials that they need like in one platform. So that was really the heart. So the selling part now becomes easier because I know that it's like, you know, I know that this at Folio and School Tech can help schools, can
Mm-hmm.
help teachers, can help
Right. Mm-hmm.
learners out there. So parang ganun talaga siya, knowing that, you know, and you mentioned also about going outside of your comfort zone. And I know that
Correct.
stay inside your comfort zone, you will not grow talaga. And I saw that in me
True.
in po, Coach Lex. You know, when we
Oh,
started,
good.
it was
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, like uh, financially, and even the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
starting a business, a company. It was really new to me, you know, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so I had to learn. And which boils down to your second part, which is competence, because you have to know your product. You have to know, you know, the ins and outs of your business. You know, you can just go
Mm-hmm.
out there and start selling without real knowledge about what you're really doing and you know what how your product work, you know, and all that.
Correct.
Ang ganda, yeah. I think siguro na I can relate to that part po
Oh,
Coach.
good.
And you mentioned
Right.
about diba, ready, fire, and aim. And I
Mm-hmm.
also had a realization na parang when you said na later ka na mag-aim. If you have the gun, you get ready, you fire it, and then adjust. Di ba?
Correct.
Ang ganda. Because I think selling even is also that kind of process. Because sometimes when it doesn't work, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to reevaluate yourself. What did not work? What happened? So how can I improve? You know, all that stuff and then fire again. Di ba po?
Right, right. You know what it says about analysis paralysis? Some people can't move because they tend to overanalyze things. Analyze ko muna, what if this happens? What if ang daming scenario, no? Nagsi-scenario building sila. And so it snowballs. Until that snowball, it creates so much fear that it paralyzes you. And the tendency is that you will not move and you will not even try to attempt to make that first sale. So ang kailangan talaga, pag ready ka na, fire. And then you adjust the message, you adjust the proposition, you adjust the presentation afterwards, no? Kasi para alam mo na, okay, next time I will do this. Next time I will do this. Because that's how we learn. The best way for us to learn is to try it out and then adjust. Try it out and then adjust.
I think some of the compelling reasons why people are afraid to do sales or to do business
Mm-hmm.
is because of the sense of um hindi pa sila stable, you know, the instability, like they don't have enough funds to run a business or you know all that stuff. I think that's one of the you know one of the main and medyo heavy na reasons why they're afraid na to go outside of their comfort zone, like from being an
Mm-hmm.
employee to be a full-fledged entrepreneur or businessman.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Going in that direction, Coach Lex, what can you say or what can you advise people
Mm-hmm.
parang nandun pa sa position na yan na parang natatakot pa sila i-let go of the ones that are stable in their life to going to something na very uncomfortable, na hindi siya stable, I don't know what's gonna happen, what if I won't make a sale,
Okay.
mga ganon.
Right, right. I learned about, before, no, it was more than a day. I think almost 2 decades ago. We had a project with a feeds company. And so yung sa feeds company, um, we had to train some people on how to convert yung current feeds that they use for their ano no piggery, and then i-convert siya sa sa panibagong brand. And then we learned na pag may feeds na brand na ginagamit yung racer, yung hog racer for example, hindi mo pwedeng palitan basta-basta ng panibago. Kasi
Oh,
masisira yung tiyan nung hogs. So what you have to do is, introduce muna the first day, introduce 25%, a mixture consisting of 25% of the new feeds and 75% of the current feeds. And then the following day, 50% 50% ratio na. And then on the third day, 75-25% na. Until on the fourth day, pwede ka na mag 100% dun sa new brand. And it's exactly the same. It's acclimatizing the hogs doon sa kanyang yung system ng hogs doon sa bagong feeds. And in what we do in business also, you can also do that, no? Yung pagka parang medyo takot ka pa to plunge. Eh di ano muna, okay, try 25-75. I mean, you're doing 75% of what you're still currently doing, and then 25% of what you're
yeah.
venturing into, and then increasing, no? So parang nag-increase ka in terms of uh percentage ng ginagawa mo dun sa new venture, para makita mo talaga, oh okay, merong may maganda pala dito. But you will only know if you successfully land a good deal, and you can only do this if you try. So which means, if you're holding on to your dear life, no, because this is the job, I cannot give up my job kasi sobrang itong stable, ito ang um and you don't give the other one a chance, then it's just going to be a wish that I wish I have that. No, it's not really a dream. I mean, you're just, or maybe it's a dream but you're just sleeping talaga, no? So it is not something that will become a reality. So talagang you will have to take that bold step forward.
Yeah,
uh
I
Hindi
also,
pwedeng no, oo, hindi pwedeng nagstay ka lang tapos
yeah,
gusto mo rin yon, no? Oo, yes.
I also remember Coach Lex when I was still doing a parang work from
Mhm.
job on top of my
Mhm.
like the school business. So I also teach in the morning and I go to work at night. I had the
Right.
job because it's really good paying. Like it pays
Mhm.
4 times more than my day job. So that was really the parang dilemma at the time, and I really felt that I had to let it go because parang I'm not being productive anymore. Like I'm very tired in the morning and I'm not parang because my passion is really into education. Eh. I cannot let go even
Mhm.
not that good paying, but in my heart I know that education, ginagawa ko sa school, is something that matters most. So it really took me like a
Mhm.
while, like almost a year to really contemplate, and I felt na parang it's so heavy going to work. It's not like the same. I stayed in that job
Right.
for years. And I stay up
Mhm.
late. I don't have like good sleep and all that until one day talaga parang I really made a bold decision to really quit. And then although I prayed talaga like many times, I still ask God like Lord, and sometimes people will tell you don't let go of of that night job because I was newly married at the time, tas 'di ba usually daw
Oh,
sabi
yeah, oo.
like it will be a problem if you're
Mhm.
not stable financially, mga ganon. So it might not be good
Mhm.
for a newlywed to let go of something that gives talaga to sustain your family or at least help no start a family. So but I really prayed,
Right.
and one day I really made that bold decision to stop. And parang after I resigned, that peace in my heart na parang grabe na relief. It was that really
Mhm.
was a really parang in my heart parang naanuhan ka ng tinek something. Yun yung na feel ko. And then that's when
Right.
I started talaga doing business. I started
True.
the
Oo.
agency and all that, and it paid even
Mhm.
more. I realized
Oh, yeah.
so parang wow, thank you Lord. So it was really God who
Oo.
also
Praise God.
in that
True.
decision.
You know, Arcel, I remember the story, no? Kasi merong isang merong isang tourist, no? That visited a certain country, and then pagdating doon may elephant, no? And but the elephant was just tied to a small, very small knot, no? Yung parang mapuputol na knot. Tapos nakatali lang yung isang paa niya sa isang maliit na stick, no? Peg that was peg on sa soil, no? Tapos ganun lang, yung baga ang elephant is so powerful. This was already an adult elephant. It's the elephant was so powerful na isang hakbang niya lang matatanggal yung kumakapit sa kanya na peg, no? But nakita niya the elephant was just standing still as if parang hindi niya kayang makawala. So tinanong niya yung caretaker. Sabi niya, how come the elephant is not even moving when in fact isang hakbang niya lang kayang-kayang matanggal yung peg. Sabi sa kanya nung caretaker, you know what? Because I tied a rope on that leg when he was still young. And then he knew during that time until he grew up that whenever there is a rope on his leg, he cannot move. And that's why he kept still until now. And
Yeah.
then you know what? I realized, tayong lahat, we have that rope also. I call it the rope of disbelief. Now, what is a rope? The rope of disbelief. Ito yung yung families natin, people who actually love us. I mean, who genuinely loves us, and society also, in general. Parang naglagay ng boundaries sa atin and nag-define kung ano yung dapat na ginagalawan natin. Anong dapat trabaho natin. Di ba? Yung when you grew up, parang dapat may trabaho ka. Dapat ganito ang trabaho mo. Dapat ganito ang pay. Dapat ganito. And so, when you try to deviate because want to go into business, you want to go into selling, you want to go into a different path, that rope of disbelief will actually parang tell you subconsciously pa rin, you can't do that. Don't do that. Don't go there. That's not for you. That's not for us. No? Yung parang ganon, di ba? So parang may pumipigil. And kahit na meron ka na, alam mo na meron ka na what it takes, you know exactly what it takes, you have more than enough to make it, you will not proceed because of that rope of disbelief. And it happened to me also when I decided, along with my wife, when we decided that I'm going to be a trainer. I mean, that's what I wanted, no. And so I spoke with a person very close to me, and I knew she loves me so much because she's family. And when I told her that, she was so no, she was so concerned about the decision. So sabi niya, Lex, look at me. I work, and she was driving. I can vividly remember we were driving. Nandun kami sa no, sa along Buendia, and moving into. If you're familiar, guys, are you familiar with EDSA? No, nasa Buendia kami, flyover, moving into EDSA on an 8 p.m. traffic. No, so puro red lights yan. Pero sabi niya sa akin, paakyat pa lang sa flyover. Lex, look at me. I work with a 100-year-old company. What can you possibly teach us? Grabe, I was dumbfounded. Para ba akong nabuhusan ng one bucket of ice? 'Di ba? Para bang wow. Wala akong nasagot. But I never felt bad because she's family, and I know that she genuinely cares for me, and that she was saying those things because she loves me. Kaya lang yung yung reason ko, yung heart ko to really move outside my comfort zone was so was so great that eventually I went on, and I moved forward and went on to it's a career on training and consulting, because that's when I started, no, yung training and consulting. And several years later, I was training a group of salespeople. No? So habang nagsasalita ako, right smack in the middle, sa poste, sa tapat ko, may nakita akong poster. Nakalagay doon, we are a 150-year-old company. Boom! Naisip ko bigla, wow, if I listened to her during that time, edi hindi ko nagawa yung gustong-gusto kong gawin. Pero because I pushed myself hard, I prayed and I pushed myself hard to move towards a different direction. It validated later on that faithful day, nung nakita ko yung poster na yon, it na-validate. Kasi
Wow.
during that time, she asked me, di ba, we're a 100-year-old company. What can you possibly teach us? And there I was years later teaching salespeople representing a 150-year-old company.
Amazing.
So, right. So parang suddenly, wow, okay. Now this is the dream. I'm living the dream. Praise God.
God po. Wow, ang ganda. I've learned so much from this episode, Coach Lex, and how I wish we still have more time to really
Oh, sayang.
Well, and even I told you I have a list of questions pa here about the book. I'm reading the book, and I want our readers, I mean listeners, also to learn about it. Just to, invite them to buy the book at
Mm-hmm.
EdFolio so that they can also learn more. And yeah, so siguro ganun na lang, no? If you want to know more about the book, please buy the book, Solving the Sales Puzzle at edfolio.co. And we really wanted you to learn from this podcast that we are doing. And Coach Lex, thank you po so much for doing this with me. And I know marami pa tayong future episodes, and we may be inviting a lot of other guests and authors as well, so
Yes.
our listeners and viewers can also learn from them. And so
Mm-mm.
thank you very much. Yeah, kulang na yung oras natin, so thank you for everything, Coach Lex, for doing this. And so, yeah, this has been your host, Ursel. And Coach Lex, maybe may mga few words ka before we end?
Oh yes, thank you, Orcel. Thank you very much, no, for the opportunity also, then for featuring solving the sales puzzle, guys. If you want to know more about the book, please log on, no, that's edfolio.co and just order the book. Napakadali lang ng process. By the way, Orcel, my team and I will be in Cagayan de Oro on May 7 until May 10, no, so.
Ah,
We'll be having a sales program there during that time, and well, for those who would like to no, to schedule a quick session during that time, you may just contact us, no, and then we can probably squeeze in some time for you during no, breakfast and dinner during that time.
wow, yeah. And it would be the best time for us to meet, Coach Lex. So I'll sure come
Oh
by.
yes. Oh,
Thank you so much.
please do. Okay, yes.
All right. So thank you again. I will see you in our next episode of EdFolio Talks with Coach Lex. Good night.
Good night, guys. God bless you.